Online with Amr The Internet Guy. Stream it today on your favorite podcast platforms. This podcast focuses on entrepreneurs and business owners, helping them become more successful in conducting their business on the web without being stuck with technology, getting a headache, pulling their hairs out, or buying expensive software.
Hello everyone, welcome to episode 23 of Online. Today we're talking about storytelling. I know I've heard this word before so many times, but I wasn't really sure how can it benefit me. And most of the times when I hear it in different contexts, and I'm not really sure, as a business owner, what do I need to do here? Today we're not only discussing storytelling, but we're discussing how video is the most important thing or the most important tool that you can use in storytelling. So instead of me telling you how this works, I have decided to interview the expert. So without further ado, let's meet our guest. Okay guys, so today I have Mr. Mo Hedayet here with me. Hey Mo, how's it going?
Good, thank you. How are you?
All good, thank you. So we've had some very interesting conversation before, and I thought that this is too interesting, so I wanted to capture it so our audience could listen to it with us. So would you please tell them what you do, where you're based?
Okay. Hi guys, how are you? My name is Mo Hedayet from Kaifko Creative. I've been a video producer creating content for initially weddings is where I started from, but it led me into telling stories and connecting with companies and businesses. It allowed me to have a story to tell. So been creating content and videos and working with photos as well for companies, and telling their story essentially to their audience to showcase their product, their services, their...
So you do photography and videography, both?
Initially, I did both of them, but then over time, as I'm growing, you have to realize at one point that you need to delegate some of your work to make sure you focus on what you really are talented for. Photography, I can do it. I can do a great job, but I focus more of my attention to motion photography, which is film and telling a story from that perspective. So then throughout your journey, naturally, you'll find people within your industry. So I connect with a really good photographer, and he does all my photography when I get projects. And we work well as a team because we are suggesting ideas and strategies to each other. And I think when you go in there with somebody else from a different perspective, it also, sparks your creative side as well to do a little bit different from what you usually would do if you were alone.
Perfect. I mean, as a business owner myself, an example, like I produce these episodes of the podcast, right?
Yeah.
And I can't say that I hate video production, like when I do it, because it takes me so much time.
Yeah.
But man, that's difficult.
Yeah.
Like it is. Like even if you're doing something small, like even if you're producing a 5 minutes video, it could take you hours to just get it to look, not just to look good, but to serve a purpose. Like, there's the goal to the video. Every video has to have a specific goal so that it's interesting for people to watch.
Absolutely.
And I think, it's hard for somebody who's never done it before to realize how much time it can take, even if you have good skill. Because people think, you know what, I'm going to learn a software, right, and do some editing. Yeah. It's not about the editing part. It's about the idea, like there's a strategy and so I wanted to ask you, what are the different types of videos first? Like what kind of videos can be done out there?
Into it for business or for anybody?
Yeah, let's say for businesses, like I'm sure it's not just a one.
No, I mean, the usual advertising that we see or we saw when television was more of a thing, where we had cable television, and it allowed us to kind of see a quick little promotion about McDonald's, or a company that would have Pepsi, Coke, and we do these fun, enjoyable commercials within that environment that they're in. But of course, that was expensive over time. And as smaller production companies, I think from the 90s, that it kind of progressed, and they were charging quite a bit, but still much cheaper than what these bigger production things cost. And it was a lot of work. I went to one of those back in like 1998. And I saw, these strings attached in this furniture shop, and they had these cameras, and they took a whole day to shoot. And I thought, oh my God, there's such a big production just to shoot a commercial for a furniture.
Yeah, it's like what, 2 minutes. at the end or something. Yeah.
Exactly. But then now that whole process can be done with very limited amount of gear, essentially, as long as you have the creativity, because the cameras have gotten a lot better. So the shots will look better without having all these things, and gimbals have come into your hand, and you can do smoother shots. So I think the type of videos that most people are used to are furniture style kind of videos. Come buy my furniture, we have 20%, 50% off, sort of thing, and that's one style. But I think as we're going into the new years of technology, and in the past year we've all kind of moved towards online, and our attention span is sometimes longer, sometimes with TikTok and these shorts that are much much shorter. We have to create something in between that works for everything, or repurpose that same type of a video for that. And the only way to keep people engaged is entertaining them with something, whether you're doing something funny that doesn't really have much of a story, but it's just something funny that somebody gets, or something interesting that's a very short, and it will complete what your message. It's essentially about your message, is what I kind of broke it down to from my perspective. What is your message? What are you trying to express? Based on that, you would break it down into, is this going to be a long form, which is a story based, or is this going to be something that it's a quick commercial, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, boom, we get it out and we got our point across. So there's different ones that can be done, and that's the beauty of it, because there's so many different ways that you can advertise yourself. Whereas you no longer have to do one TV commercial, give it to a TV station, and pay a lot of money, and you get to see it once a week or once a month, depending on how much you buy into that advertising. Now you have the ability to use the web and broadcast for free, and then put money behind it and push it further. It's amazing. We live, I think, in a really good time that we can express ourselves and our business much easier to our audience.
I had a conversation yesterday with somebody who used to work for Yellow Pages, and my first question was, when did you guys realize that it's dead? And she said, I think she said 2005. And it's the same thing for everything. Like I still enjoy some of the TV commercials. Some of them are funny and hilarious.
Yeah.
And those are the ones who stick. And some of them are so annoying, but the jingle, which is annoying, but it stays in your head for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think subliminally, this is what the advertisers or the creative behind the ads are trying to do.
Yeah.
But I would say we're extremely lucky now, because online, we don't only have one channel, there's so many of them.
Yeah.
So you can do YouTube, you can do social media. Within social media, you can have basically you can have a video everywhere.
Yeah.
Like LinkedIn, you can have a video. TikTok, Snapchat, Twitter, everywhere.
Yeah.
So basically you can shoot a video and then soil the internet space with it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the other thing I always tell my clients is that essentially you have an entire network at your disposal right now. You have all these avenues where you can reach thousands and millions of people based on what you're projecting, all at once, without pretty much any cost, in a way, of broadcasting to these networks. And you can change your story based on where you're putting this advertising out.
Yes.
On LinkedIn, it would be a little bit different than it would be on TikTok or on Snapchat or on Instagram. So every one of them, even the formatting, has to be modified to fit that audience or that viewership. And that's
This
when
is
you
interesting.
succeed.
Because I know, for example, I don't use Instagram a lot. Well,
Right.
I have an account that's an old account.
Right.
But I know that the video size itself has to be different from, let's say, what you put on YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, I came across this, when people started to use more Instagram using the vertical format, and especially with the story that became more of a thing that can your news feed more than just your post. So I used to give my videos that would complete for my clients landscape, standard format that I would shoot, because to me that's the best. You're watching a movie and you want to watch it
It's like
in full and see
screen.
everything. And the way I compose the shots and create the story, I use all the space, all the background within that. That's why I choose that specific space. Or if I zoom in, I'm trying to get everything as much into the frame as possible to make sure, I'm focusing or I'm giving attention to the product or whatever I'm shooting. But unfortunately, when you zoom in and then you have to crop it into a vertical,
you
it
lose some
changes
of your stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. Now, right now, Instagram kind of has 3 different formats. You have the square, They have the mid vertical, which is for posts, and then they have the story, which is full, which is essentially the ones you shoot on your phones in a vertical format. It takes the entire thing. But if you post that as a post, it will cut it short, and you can get the head cut off or the feed cut off based on how you want to do it. And if it's zoomed in, then it's going to get even more. So that's why the way I do it is now I let the clients know, okay, where are we advertising this? Where are we pushing this? Or based on what it is, even on Instagram, I put my videos as full just because I want people to enjoy exactly how I meant to shoot it. But then I also then create a vertical format of that where I center every single frame to make sure that, as it jumps, because you can cut it, but then side of the face could be cut off or some information you want. So, and I used to give that to my clients, and they used to just post it as a square, and I would call them and say, "You did post it, but you just destroyed that thing that we wanted to focus on." And they realize that because it's I didn't know. I'm sorry. Can you tell me? And I realized.
So kind of you have to give them all the different sizes that are ready, and then call it Instagram video, YouTube video, whatever, so they know which one goes where.
Exactly, and I do name them like that. It's like a YouTube format, Instagram post format, and we got
because if they just have the one, wherever it goes, it's gonna look different.
It's gonna look different. It may not look as appealing as you want it to. It's gonna get distorted. The quality that we shoot is higher resolution, and then all of a sudden, not only these systems reduce that quality down to a certain point, anyways, because they want to stream it a lot faster. But at the same time, you're also cutting out, so you're zooming in if you shot a vertical shot to do it. Now, the way it works is I think I try to, when I discuss it with my clients, is that, hey, we're going to create this video this way, but I'll give you a format, vertical format, based on the agreement that we have a contract. And I include that because it makes their life a little easier. I send them the white one. This is for the YouTube channel. This one is for the post. So they know they won't make a mistake. When they post it, they don't have to do anything else. I've even discovered this way of, in the first frame of it, and this is something anybody can use. In the first frame of your video, you can put an image with writing, just how they do on YouTube. On YouTube, you can put like a thumbnail. And you can do all these graphics on it and make it look good. On Instagram, you can do the same thing. Although Instagram, it picks the first frame, or you can pick a frame from the video.
Oh, so you have to
attach another. Exactly. So I include it within the video in the first frame because automatically it will pick up the first frame. So the first frame can be a picture of a play button or the name of the actual video. So that's and that will show up on your post. Your post will show that as the main image that they'll see.
That's good, because I didn't know that. I thought that everywhere you go, you can have your separate thumbnail. I didn't know that on Instagram, there's no you cannot upload a thumbnail.
That's right.
It has to take the frame. So what you do is you include the thumbnail inside the video, and it becomes the first frame.
Yeah, and it's so fast that when it's playing, you can tell one frame.
Yeah, because it's just goes so quickly.
It goes quickly, but the system will recognize that and pick it up, and you got your first clip. It's better than a black screen, I can tell you that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Right, because that will confuse everybody. But I think that's one way I try to kind of help my clients by realizing that if we can kind of tackle your marketing plan strategically, it will help you kind of utilize video to grow your business and to grow your audience from that perspective. Because if you have a story to tell, and I think that's why when he said earlier, is it going to stick? Some commercials stick to my head and some commercials do not. There's one commercial from many years ago that I had sent to my wife. It was very interesting. It was an English speaking one, but there was something about the German accent, and it was just funny. It just, the whole commercial was extremely funny. Until this day, years later, I still, every time I think of that,
you remember it. Yeah,
I'm still laughing because that commercial was so funny that it connected me. And I think that's the kind of stories that we need to tell about ourselves and about our businesses. Because let's be honest, anyone that gets into a business, they work very hard. They decided to take that route of being your own business owner versus being an employee for a reason. And it's not, yes, the goal is
sometimes you work more and earn less. Let me tell you
it happens. We all do it. Absolutely.
Sometimes you feel like, you know what, if I've done this for another company, I would have been earning double and working less.
Absolutely. But on the other hand,
the enjoyment is the enjoyment.
Exactly. In an alternate universe, that other version of you that's living that life, they're saying, well, I'm here, but if I had my own business, I would work many hours, but it's my own business.
The grass is always greener on the other side.
Absolutely.
I'm interested to know, because we touched on it, and we're talking about commercials, and I don't want people to think that because we all know that TV commercials are mega expensive. And what I wanted to tell people that the reason why they're mega expensive is because you're buying time on the network. It's not the video itself. It's actually the showing of the video, like where it will appear. Is it a busy time of the day or not? Is it in one of the most favorite shows that people are watching? There's so much that goes into it. When it comes online, we don't have all that. We just have different networks, and it's good to be on more than one network, but also as a business owner, you need to figure out who you're advertising to, like where is your ideal client and who they are and where do they live. As an example, for my specific business, my ideal clients are all over the age of 35. So I don't think I should be on TikTok anyway, right? I'm not saying that there are no people on TikTok who are over 35, but if there are, they're not going there to purchase a service. They're going there for pure enjoyment. So it's not really the right channel. But I think if I can tap into my ideal clients on places like Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, that would be my ideal world. Same thing for a business. Let's say, for example, we have a landscaping company, right? So what can we do for them? Like in a video, how much? Because also, does it have to be long? Does it have, let me rephrase my question first. Like what's the ideal length of a video, for a small business?
Well, I mean, let's use a contractor business as an example. Depending on what story you're telling, that video can be short or long, and that means that if your story is interesting and it's engaging, it can be longer.
Okay.
And everybody will stay attached to it, and they'll continue, and they'll be engaged and invested in that time. But if it's something like, they just want to get a quick point across, like a little, promotion about a sales that you're having or something, or you've done something, hey, we did this project, boom, there you go, done, it's done. But if you want to get into details, for example, if you say, well, let's do a story about why you got into this business, or how do you do as a construction, how do you do something interesting that you feel is unique to your business, to your company, that nobody else possibly does. Let's create a video and a story about that. Because your audience, obviously there's a lot of contractors, they're all, building, and at the end, to an average person, it just looks like they built a house or they renovated a house or something. They don't see all the hard work that went behind it and all the cool things that you guys had to do. And sometimes you have to be innovative on a certain corner of a wall. You use a different way of doing things just because it's a certain hole in the way that you have to kind of modify. And that's the kind of story I think is interesting for the people who are watching. Because from my perspective, if a contractor comes to me and says, I want to do a story, but I want to do something that people can connect with me, great. What do you do best? And what is it, something that you want to express to your audience as that's the one that they should know you about? From, like, for example, if I do this is, if somebody thinks of this, they think of me automatically, or my company. So let's give them that story and tell them why they should consider you over all the other competition. And to do that, we need to connect with them emotionally. Now, when we connect emotionally, that's where it sticks to us. Movies, have connected with us emotionally throughout years. And we've always over and over watched the same movies, even though we know the story.
You don't want to make people cry, though.
No. Exactly, right? But so when we have a story, we end up connecting better with our audience, because then they know you as that. Hey, I noticed you do that. I'm sure, like, when you go out and they see your podcast, like, hey, you do a podcast.
So the long format can be anything, right? Because you're telling the full story.
Exactly.
But what about the short format? Is there like a specific timing for the attention span? Is it like, because as an example, this podcast, every episode is more or less an hour. Some are 45 minutes, some like an hour and 10 or an hour and 15. So we're dancing around the 1 hour mark.
Right.
But many of the podcasts I consume myself are like 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe because I talk too much, my episodes take a little longer. But also the idea that why I created the show was to put the spotlight on small business owners and get their stories into, the same thing.
Absolutely. So
get them to kind of tell the audience why you're doing what you're doing. And I feel like if I do it in less than an hour, people won't get the full story. Right? But I'm also told that the best videos on some of the networks are below whatever, I don't know, below 3 minutes or so. What's your take on that?
Well, when you look at social media, when you look at Instagram or Facebook, 60 seconds is that limit that Instagram has as a post, and then it goes into.
And that's the story part, or generally?
Well, you can fit a good story within 1 minute. So majority of my clients end up doing short videos with me. So I have
So you can have maximum impact for just a 1 minute.
Yeah, 1 minute of engagement. The most impact right now these days, because of the 15 seconds that TikTok and stories and all these other ones do. Those ones, also because YouTube recently launched their YouTube Shorts, which is a story format, and that's 10 to 15 seconds essentially.
Okay.
And you can put longer, but the engagement is not as much. And I've tested these programs. So I've tested the Instagram Reel section as well as the YouTube Story or Shorts. So what that does is, and I tried it in different formats, even put it in a wide, but cropping it within that, it didn't work. So on an Instagram Reel, if you put it as a post, what I realized is that if it's a post size, that's vertical but not the complete full one, it doesn't have barely any engagement. But if you make it go completely full screen, it will go much further. I mean, you will get within a few hours, you'll reach almost 2,000 hits. Wow. Which on a post, that same one that you have as a post, you probably may not get that much depending on the audience, of course. Yeah. And that's just an average audience of whatever somebody has between 300 to.
And we can capture the essence behind the story in a minute.
Absolutely, yeah. Like you can. Okay. I mean, I've done stories where it's based on a service that a company provides, where multiple people are talking. And what I do is I use B-roll shots to tell their story, so we're not looking at someone's face the whole time, and be able to pitch information from one to the other, where multiple people are talking about their services instead of just one person speaking for that 1 minute. And then with different shots in between of them engaging and talking and showing their work environment.
Yeah, because you can get the whole team in, right? You can get like everyone can have an input.
Yeah.
And you'll be lucky while you're filming if there are some clients there too.
Yeah.
And then you can ask them like, why do you come here or whatever, like, wait.
Absolutely, yeah. So within a minute, as long as we discuss that this is 1 minute, we have to think of our dialogue and our speaking, because we only have so much to talk. Yeah. We also want to allow for some music so people are not listening to talking the entire time. So we do that. For example, 1 minute videos can be dialogue based, as well as it could be just like a B-roll kind of a shot. Like I've done a bar,
show reel,
like a bar cocktail video, which is very snappy and the camera goes all over. Yeah. And it just shows the bartender making a drink from scratch to its completion.
Tom Cruise?
Yeah. Actually, I make the guy flip the thing and I reverse it, which makes it look cool.
Oh, okay.
So I play with speed in slow motion and speed ramping to allow certain parts to be more impactful and more enjoyable. Water dropping in a slow motion is always, we enjoy watching that. So any liquid that's dropping and it's slow motion or something impacting, it would make it look cool. So that whole point of view, you were saying psychologically, some of these commercials are playing a certain role when they're showing something else. I mean, that bar commercial, yes, it's a drink for a specific restaurant, but at the same time, nobody needed to know, how we do the whole process.
Yes.
They just get the drink at the table and they drink it. They're not going to stand and watch the bartender do it.
Yeah.
But we're now giving them an opportunity to see behind the scenes of this bar.
Of course.
And see that little story about that specific cocktail. And I think every business has so many small little stories that we can tell about all the work that they do, that they can
I'll tell you the one that I remember, for example, and I don't know the owner of the pizzeria, and I think I've said his name on many of my episodes before, right, which is Spacca Napoli here in Port Moody.
Nice, yeah.
Because the first time I went right after they opened, before COVID, of course. So they had these big menus. And on the first page, they tell you the story of what does the word Spacca means, which is like a long alley. And then they do have in Napoli, in Italy, a big alley that actually separates two sides of the town.
Nice.
And that is what's called Spacca Napoli. Yeah. And then they give you the story about the clay oven that they have, and they had to import it from Italy. And I haven't spoken with the owner because I'm intrigued. I mean, I go there to eat pizza and leave, right?
Yeah.
But because I read the story, I'm still interested to figure out why you could not build a clay oven here in Canada. Like, what's so special about this oven that you had to import it all the way from Italy? Yeah. And I think that this story is a great story for me, at least as a consumer, because I've always said that the taste of the pizza there is different from anywhere else. I've eaten pizza in so many places, and this one, I'm not saying is the best or is better or worse than others, but it's different. It's certainly different.
Yeah.
And I remember a few things about it. Like they used to give you a big, the pizza comes to you uncut,
Right.
and they give you a big pair of scissors, and you have to cut it yourself.
Right. Nice.
So these are brilliant.
Yeah.
I don't find this in a video about the place. Like they probably don't have a video.
Yeah.
And the story of importing the oven was on the website, but it didn't appear as something important. Like it's almost if I had to give them advice, I would say like you gotta put some focus on the story.
Yeah.
You gotta put some focus on the enjoyment that people have when they get it for the first time, or even being baffled because you get the pizza and it's not cut and you look like, how am I gonna eat this? And then you realize there's a big pair of scissors. Like literally you had to use both hands. Like it's a bit smaller now.
Right.
They have a smaller version, but a couple of years ago,
Right.
I'm not joking, it was at least this long. Like, you had to-
That's interesting.
it's like cutting a tree, but you're cutting a pizza.
I should go visit though. I enjoy pizza. That's
Yeah.
I'll go try them. But I think if you look at it from that perspective, and we're all guilty of it to a certain point. It's not easy for us to talk about ourselves.
Like you have something really cool
Yeah.
and different from every other business that's in a similar or in the same industry.
Yeah.
But you're not showing this to the people. And I feel like we're all guilty of it anyway.
Yeah, and I think if you look at it from their perspective, they feel it's important, but maybe they haven't been into a situation where somebody has brought that to their attention. Maybe you should
Yeah.
talk about this. And sometimes when you work with companies, to create, when I go in and I create content for my clients, it's like, I want to know more about them, because the more I get to know, the more I see things that it's normal for them. It's now saturated in their world.
Yes.
But to me, it's like, that
That's
was
the thing,
interesting.
because we do what we do day in and day out.
Yeah,
So for us, exceptional is normal.
yeah,
In our industries, because we've seen it like 100 times already. It's no longer exceptional. Maybe it was the first time you did it.
yeah,
And so that's the thing with every business. But when you get an outsider who comes and tries to help you market your service or market your product, the outsider will be fascinated by stuff that you think is normal.
yeah, absolutely.
And that's for example, web design. Some web designers, and certainly when I started early in 2001, sometimes we wanted to show our craftsmanship. So we put stuff on the website that has no purpose. The only purpose that it does is to make other web designers jealous, because they look at it and they think, oh my God, look at how powerful this design is, or whatever. But over the years, as you learn and you become a seasoned professional, you realize, oh my God, like we used to put, at the time it was flash animations.
Right.
And
Yeah.
things will be like lighting up and moving on the page, and like these websites when you land and music starts in the background automatically, and
Yeah.
it's utterly annoying. But like 20 years ago, people thought it was a great idea.
Yeah, my website had that.
Yeah.
I thought that was the coolest thing.
And then
I want people
were-
to enjoy music.
Exactly. And things that are moving around. And we put things there only because we could.
Yeah.
It didn't serve a marketing purpose. It was not promoting the business. It was not, we didn't know any better. The business owner didn't know any better. But we've come a long way
Yeah.
to understand that these things are tools that you as a business should be using. So a video is a tool that you can use to promote your business, to tell your story, to highlight your talent.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right?
I think it's important to have a balance of everything. I mean, as a business owner, you have a lot of costs and a lot of things to think about. So when you think of video, sometimes a lot of people feel like, oh, is it going to be too expensive? Can I actually do this?
Yeah, this is what I wanted to ask you the question,
Yeah.
not only about the cost, but what are the pushbacks that you normally get when you speak with people, not necessarily leads that you're speaking with in order to convince them that it's going to be good for them, but in general, the misconceptions about video. What?
Well, besides the fact that I think when you look at it as a business, they pretty much are looking to be able to accomplish what they've seen somewhere else. whether their competition or somewhere across the world that's inspired them to say, well, I want to create something like this. But then when they dig deep into it, and sometimes they may come across people that may give them a price that's way above their budget,
Yeah.
or maybe a quality that's not exactly what they're looking for. And sometimes I find, building that communication, because when I work with clients, it becomes a bit of a relationship. Now we're kind of partners in this. I need your input to be able to create what I want to do.
Yeah.
So sometimes that communication, if you can connect with someone who is able to hear you out and express what you're thinking, and brings your imagination to life visually, then that's worth sometimes the time and the effort that you put into it, because it's not just money invested into it. It's really, as a business owner, you have to now think of, what do I want to express? And you get nervous. It's like, oh, do I want to talk about this? Do I not want to talk about this? Should I mention
Audition.
this?
They need an audition.
Right. So I pretty much a good producer, essentially, when I start working with them, is like, let's break it down, let's simplify it, and let's talk about one thing at a time, and go from there. So the pushbacks usually comes back from everyone. They love the fact that, hey, we're going to do this and we're going to do this, but pushbacks are always like, so what am I going to get out of how, are people going to see it? Is it going to get very far? Although I got to be honest, in the past, since 2021 has began, it's been a little bit different, because for the past, over a year, people have been inside on their digital
they
devices.
couldn't meet in person.
Exactly. So themselves, as a business owner, as a person, was stuck in that same environment as everybody else. So they're kind of living the same life that their customers had lived, and how are they consuming information? Through their digital media, which is their phones, their
Yes.
their
And I don't
digital
think
media.
this is going away anytime soon anyway.
No.
It's not because of COVID.
Well,
It's because we've discovered that it works.
now we've
Like we've discovered that you can sell online.
Yeah.
Wow, I can have e-commerce. Yeah. You could have had that 20 years ago, but you waited for COVID to tell you.
Exactly. Well, once you discover a wheel, then you can't just not go back to anything else. It goes a lot faster. So it's the same procedure. I think when business owners, now they're starting to realize that maybe I should consider video, and I've come across people that hadn't thought about it, that they're considering it, or now they're strongly thinking about it.
So I would say the chief concern that people think video is expensive.
That's the one.
That's the
thing
main thing,
yeah,
right?
Because they feel like either it's going to cost them too much, or if they get a quote, be above that, and sometimes they lock out. Some companies and some production companies have a specific price tag that they don't go below.
Yeah.
But keep in mind, there's so many out there that you can work with, and each one of them have.
Is
different
it
price
expensive in general? Like, would you say video is expensive?
Video is. I wouldn't say.
I know that there's no one size fits all, because everyone has a different requirement and story.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with web design, right?
Yeah.
And with web design, okay, you've got different options. You can do it yourself.
Yeah.
You don't need to hire anyone, right?
Yeah. Just like video. You can do it
and
yourself.
many people can just go do them. Like with video, you have your camera. You just need like a few bits and pieces, like lighting, a tripod for your phone, whatever. Okay. And it's the same thing with websites. Like you could pretty much, WordPress as an example, WordPress is free, right? You buy hosting for whatever, $10 a month. You buy your domain name, install WordPress, which is free, and go ahead and, the world is your oyster.
Yeah.
Right?
Or like other sites like Squarespace or Wix
or whatever.
you
even choose, they let you choose. WordPress does it too.
Yeah.
They let you choose a template.
Nice.
And all what you need is to make changes to the template.
Yeah.
But the funniest part is, every time I've met with somebody who designed their own website, and I ask one simple question: how many hours did it take you until you actually published the website, like went live with it? The average. So some people said like 30, some people said like 100 hours, some people said 60 hours, whatever. The average, if I just calculate all of them and divide and to reach an average, was 40 hours, right? So, okay, 40 hours, what's your hourly rate as a business owner? So if you're a coach, or if you're a yoga, studio owner or whatever, how much is your hourly rate, right? Because you got to factor that in. And if you say that your hourly rate is whatever, $50, for example, okay, so you spend 40 hours times $50, then that website costs you $2,000. Is it worth it? Like, could you have hired somebody else for the $2,000 who would have given you a website that looks way better, works way better, and saved you that time so that you could use this time for something that
Bigger.
you'll really love.
Yeah.
You know, either focusing on your business or, you know, being out with the kids or going on a hike or, you know what I mean, going
Yeah.
to the beach, whatever, you know, whatever that makes you tick.
Yeah, and it's the same thing I think with all these elements of having a business. I mean, most people that start a business, they're capable of doing majority of the tasks, or at least having anything they can do, then they get somebody. But and for example, websites which have been created so you can create things yourself and invest your time as you're giving your investing your equity of yourself essentially into it, or you can hire somebody else to do it. Same thing with videos and stuff. You have your camera, you can shoot, and you can do that. But I find that businesses that have succeeded and of a good clientele that are consistent, that their business is rolling, are the ones that rely on a team of
Of
professionals
course.
that allow them to do it. For example, uh, it's simple as an accountant. Every business needs an accountant. Now, just because you can crunch some numbers together, it doesn't, and you've studied accounting in school,
Yeah.
many years ago, it doesn't mean that you're going to want to do your taxes. You want to,
Exactly.
you want somebody
Yeah.
else. Just like an accountant.
Oh,
would,
believe me, I tried.
right? I'm sure most of us have.
It's like, oh my God, no, I don't get this. Let me hire somebody.
Exactly. And sometimes you calculate, like you said, your time. Is my time worth spending on this?
Yeah.
Or if I were to take that time and apply it to other parts of my business, maybe I can grow it. While this is costing me
Exactly.
money,
I mean,
I'm making much more once I get this other thing done.
imagine you're whatever, like, okay, a small bakery, right?
Yeah.
Do you really want to spend your time learning WordPress or learning a video editing tool after hours? Like you've been in your bakery for the whole day and you closed at 7 p.m. Do you want to go home, spend this time with your family, or go home, spend this time on YouTube trying to learn how to make this work?
Yeah.
And then once you learn, guess what? A few days later, there's a new problem coming for you. You just don't see it because that's not your bread and butter.
Yeah.
Like you're not a web designer. You don't know what's around the corner. You've built your website. It looks great, right? But the form that people fill is not sending an email. So you're not going to get any inquiry from your website. And that is a part that with Dr. YouTube, you haven't reached that part yet.
Yeah.
So it's coming for you. It's just like so there are, I always say like, you know, you can do, every business owner, you can do so much.
Yeah.
There's so many things that you can learn, and it's good to learn something new every day.
Yeah.
As long as you keep focused on what makes you special, why you started your business at the first place. You didn't start your business so that you can learn accounting, HR, and marketing and all by yourself.
Yeah.
You started your business because you have a passion for something very specific,
Yeah.
which is your talent, right? So
Well,
don't let this out of your sight. By all means, if you have the time, and I've been told this, like for starting up, you know, somebody who has an idea of a business, they're starting up, it's so early, they are not making money yet, so that they don't have a budget to spend on anything, right?
Yeah.
So they want to do everything on their own. But the fact is, because they get pulled in so many different directions, their focus on what makes them special isn't complete, because you still have to worry about all these other, there's a whole world out there that when you're starting up, you have to know about, right?
Absolutely. And I think that's, if you look at it from a perspective of that same point, you started this business, a bakery shop, let's say. You decided to open up a bakery shop, and you've worked all the hours, before you even began to register the name and all that stuff.
Yeah.
This is what it's going to look
And
like.
learning
This is
how
the
to bake.
furniture, and maybe you are an amazing baker.
Yeah.
Right? I have all this talent. I want to be able to make stuff. I want to bake stuff in my own cafe and sell it to people. That's what I want to do. So you come up with this, and it's a brilliant idea, and you picked location, you got everything going. But now you get to a point where it's like, okay, well, I don't have the money to spend at this point, even though that's, as part of your business plan, marketing is a major section in there, along with the numbers and analysis.
Yeah, and this is,
of your costs.
I want to make this very clear, right? Because I think there are many people out there who get the priorities reversed.
Yeah.
People always, and I hate that, like when people say sales and marketing. They're not the same thing.
Yeah.
Like even when I worked in the corporate world, I hated that title. Like I hated to meet somebody. Not I didn't hate the person. I hated that companies still combine the two in one.
Yeah.
They're completely different, in my opinion. And I think the right way, and I could be wrong, but I think the right way is marketing first, then sales. Because if you don't market, you'll have no sales.
Exactly.
You can't go like, no matter how good of a hustler you are, you can't go convince somebody to buy a product they don't know from a company they don't know.
Yeah. I mean, you can start with your family and friends and start the sale.
Oh God!
But then now
like
that
that's
you've
the worst
started
thing
that,
ever.
no, I mean, in a way,
Hustling family and friends.
no, I mean, we understand that a lot of business owners, if you're talking about startups,
Yeah.
the first support comes in from family and friends. They'll go on
No,
your
I mean
site
it
and buy
depends. Of
something,
course, it
or they'll
depends.
come to your
Yeah.
store. No, but that's your first customer. Your first customers are usually your family and friends. But then after that,
Unless you're selling insurance or skin products, then that's not a good idea
Right,
to go to your
exactly.
family and friends.
but once you pass that family and friends phase of kind of supporting you, you need to have plan B in place, which is your real customers, and that's where you want to apply
Exactly.
all
So
your focus.
it doesn't matter how good you are in what you do if nobody knows about it.
If nobody knows about it, exactly.
Like, okay, you could like guys, like I want to say something. Like you could even have, I'm sorry to say that, and I know I'm shooting myself in the foot. You can have a shitty website that has good content on it. Like it's not even about the design and how great it looks. It's about the content that's on the site.
Yeah.
Right? If the content is the right content that people want to consume, they will forgive you for a bad design.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like the design does not matter whatsoever. Of course, if you have a good design, it's icing on the cake, but you need to have the cake, right? The cake is the content.
Yeah.
That content could be text, images, video.
Yeah.
That's what gets people interested. That's what gets people engaged. That's what gets your story out to. And so let me ask you one question.
Yes.
Once a video is produced and is given to the client, right?
Right.
What do they need to do now?
Well, good question. Well, I mean, that's something that we discuss before we even begin to shoot, because it's like when we talk about the concept of this video. Okay, well, the message is a major part, the concept and then the story and how we're going to build it in, and then okay, well, if that story is tied into where is it going to be, projected, pretty much. Where's the audience? Who's going to view it? Where are we posting it? And based on that, we create it accordingly. And because of that stage, when we do that, it allows them to know, okay, well, when it finishes, I'm going to post it on Instagram. And it's kind of like, I usually let them know, this is for your Instagram. This is for your YouTube. What you want to do is you want to get your post out on Instagram first.
Yeah.
So you can introduce this video, then start putting it on your YouTube
So do you
channel.
give them like a plan of action?
I discuss it with them, exactly.
Okay.
And sometimes and as soon as they post it, then I also, certain videos I posted on my platforms and tag them and kind of, I also let them know, tag me as well, so I can help that.
Because you want your past clients to also see what you're doing with the new clients, because there might be some synergies there.
Exactly. And at the same time, I want to be able to support them. I mean, I'll be one of the people that was involved in it. I obviously believe in your service and product to be able to help you with this. So therefore, I don't mind sharing that with my audience. Maybe they'll come into you and utilize it. And to me, if I can provide my audience with some information or some place that they can go enjoy food or go to a place of fitness or something, then might as well be these guys, because these guys are my clients. If I can feed them clients and help their business grow, that is the purpose I'm doing this. I'm not doing it just to take their money and create a video that they'll end up throwing away, or it gets lost in
or stays in their on their hard drive. Goes nowhere, right?
And there are clients that produce all these commercials, and at the end they decide
and they
not
didn't
to
take
use
the
it
next steps.
Yeah, or they take longer. I mean, sometimes they have strategies in place, but sometimes they may not. That video may pass a certain peak that they wanted to reach. Now they're not in the same mode, and that's their decision.
Yeah.
However, I try to help them by letting them know that if they need support, if they need resources with management of social media.
I'm beginning to think as we go through with our conversation today that businesses don't just need a one video. Like it doesn't make any, I don't know, like it's not going to be powerful enough. You probably need to have more than one.
Yeah.
And maybe is like the first one is an intro to tell the story, why you're doing what you're doing, but maybe if you have a sale going on, you need something specific to the sale.
Yeah.
If you have a new product, or if you have a new office, or something else got you motivated and you want to share this with your clients or with your followers or whatever. So I'm beginning to think that it's an ongoing relationship. It's not like I'm going to get a videographer who's going to give me one video. I'm going to post it on all the networks. I'm going to sit there and watch my, my money box tick or whatever.
Well, exactly. The key is consistency. Now, in whatever you do, when you have a space that you sell a service or food or a product, your inventory has to be consistent. Your service has to be consistent. And that same thing goes for your marketing and advertising and creating content. Your content has to be consistently coming out, because when we discussed, you have a network to broadcast. Now you have an audience, just like a YouTube channel that you have, or just like Netflix broadcasting to us and we watch all these shows and movies. We're not their audience. We're waiting for new episodes to come out, new stories to come out. You've created one. Now you set the expectations, set the bar up.
Something else is coming. Yeah,
something else is coming. And it doesn't mean that all has to be perfect.
You don't have to be a slave of it as well. No. Like, it's not like, hey, if you do one every week, you have to keep doing one every week. It's not the case. But the case is, you don't do one, disappear for 6 months, people will forget about you. And then on the next one, you're kind of trying to re-engage the audience. That's harder.
Yeah.
But at least if they know that roughly every month you post something or whatever, then it becomes an expectation and people are waiting for it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's the key. I mean, if you plan it out, and I let them know, there's no specific, there's like specific metrics that you can get on Instagram. It's like, if you post this many times, you're going to get this much engagement. But it comes down to whatever your consistency is. So if your consistency means that you're going to put 2 posts per week, versus some people might put a post every single day, or one professional video and a few other,
exactly. You can have one done for you, and then you can have a few of them just doing it yourself.
And that's what I do. Most of my clients, we create packages based on how many videos we want to project each month. So, whether it's 4 videos, once a week, or every other week, we're going to do professional. In between, then I kind of help them and I advise
them. Give them a little script that they can use, or something, like an idea.
Well, I give them ideas of, hey, listen, with your phone, this is what you can talk about and start posting on stories. So you're building that everyday thing, because I can't be there every day watching your business. You're going to see things that I may miss. But if you can take out your phone and shoot a little small clip and then just post it as a raw thing, that will be your more amateur kind of shots that everybody's kind of used to now with TikTok and all these things, which will still increase your engagement a lot.
Of course,
because when you take all these little,
it's a window teasers to your world.
And it's teasers to building up to the next video that will come up, which will be kind of nice. And that's why we do behind the scenes. We do little shots or photos of every shoot that we go to. We just take it and I post it on my Instagram story. This is where I was at. It's giving the audience a teaser that this is what I worked on. Maybe you're going to see the video in upcoming weeks. And that's the idea.
Just don't post what you're eating, guys. It drives me nuts.
Or every single workout that's happening. So I think from a business perspective, have a consistency of putting stuff up. And it doesn't mean that you have to do it every day. It means as long as you're repeating that every single week, so your audience can get used to getting information from
content you. You're giving content. That's it.
And forget about the algorithm of what Instagram has.
No, I mean, I was telling you before we started that, in my opinion, search engine optimization, or SEO, is way overrated, right? It's essential, but it's overrated because people think, I'm going to stop all other marketing activities. I'm going to be doing nothing. So, they're not posting on their blog or on their website. They're not networking. They're not meeting people. You know what I mean? Like, they're not sending anything to their past and existing clients. Like an email, hey, how's it going? Is there anything else we can help you with? Or, it depends on your industry, of course. Absolutely. Like, not everybody has the data or the email of their clients. But I'm saying, in general, they're not connecting with people. And all what they're doing, they're thinking by just buying some ads on Google, the business is going to grow and they'll have more sales, right? That doesn't work.
Well, it's a combination of everything.
Tool. It's the SEO is one tool in your marketing arsenal, right? You have you have so many tools. Like it's like you need to have a toolbox, right?
Yeah.
If I'm gonna be building, let's not say building a house because that's very hard. If you go to IKEA and you buy furniture,
Yeah.
right? They give you the tools to build the furniture.
Yeah.
If one of these tools is missing, you won't be able to build your bookcase or your chair or whatever it is that you're building, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with marketing your business. You can't just have a one tool and think that this alone will give you the or will make you reach the target that you want to reach.
Absolutely.
It's not a one tool. You have to have a mix of certain things together.
Yeah.
And when they all work together in harmony, you're going to reach your target. So SEO is part of the mix, but it's not all the mix. Digital marketing in general is not all SEO. SEO is just one part of it.
Absolutely, yeah. Everyone plays a key role in making your business grow, and you have to be able to use the right team to deploy that. So my job is to create content, to tell stories and create content. Now I do that part, and then it gets to a point. Okay, it's kind of relay. I have to now pass the torch on.
Yes,
now that I've
yes.
created content to social media management team, which then they have to do. Now that management team can be you, or you can be your nephew or cousin or daughter or son.
Yeah, or somebody who's working in your business, one of
Exactly.
your admin people.
Exactly. And
they don't have to have tech skills anyway. They just need to have access to social media channels.
Exactly. Now you can do this again, same thing. Just like you can take a camera and film something and get it ready as a content, or hire a professional to create the content and strategize with you to tell your story. And same thing applies to posting. Either you can do it yourself and schedule your day that, hey, at 3 o'clock I'm going to post. At 12 o'clock
or you can even have a tool.
Yeah.
Like there are so many social media scheduling
you
softwares.
Now it comes down to your time. If you have the time to do it, by all means, go ahead and do it. But if you can apply yourself to a different part of the business that can make you more money, then give this to somebody else and just let them do it so you can.
So my goal here, I'm not trying to scare people, right?
Oh, no.
There's only so much that you as a business owner can learn and can do on your own.
Yeah.
Right? Once you have some content that has been made for you, written for you, or videos that have been done for you, or some aspects of your website that have been done for you.
Yeah.
Now, the next step is, how are you going to share this with the world, and where are you going to share it? Most people who are on social media kind of every day now, like we've grown. I think even with COVID, it became more. We're increasing, the dependence on social media for so many things, including entertainment. So it becomes easier for you to post it yourself. You don't need to hire a social media manager. But think of it this way as well. If you have somebody taking this off your hands and you can regain another hour or 2 hours a day, isn't that better for you to spend this 1 or 2 hours on something more productive than you trying to push everything out, on the social media channels? Yeah. So there's always this kind of balance that we have to create, cost versus benefit. Yeah.
And again, when you're starting off, and if you want to cut down your cost or things are not exactly where you want it to be, yes, you want to try to, pay somebody to do one thing, but then you'll do the other job, and then maybe get something. So
as long as you're not paying somebody to do something for you, and you use this time like as a wasted, like, you know what I mean?
Exactly. If you have the time and energy to do it, absolutely go for it.
Go ahead and do it.
Because chances are you're well capable of posting something online.
On your own,
and that's perfect.
And everybody is. Yeah.
Which is awesome. Take advantage of that. When you get to a point in your business where you're starting to see that grow and you're making that money, then maybe it's time to consider hiring a team, because that will take you from here much higher, because now you have another team doing it, and you've reached a certain point where you've maxed out your time capacity, and now you're thinking, well, I don't need to do this anymore. I can apply myself to my customers who are now coming in. I have to focus on servicing them. And that, I think, as a business owner, we always try to find ways to save costs, but more importantly, how to make sure we're servicing our customers to keep coming back for more business with us.
And that's what it is. It's like they always tell you 80% of your business comes from 20% of your customers, right? Yeah. The 80-20, I think it's called the Pareto Rule or something. Anyway, and when you say that 80% of your business comes from 20% of your customers, these are existing customers, right?
Yeah.
if you're going to ignore them and then keep hounding, for new leads and new customers and new leads, and like, it's good to be a hustler, but the most successful hustlers are those who are hustlers with good customer service. Because I've seen the other side, which is hustle, hustle, hustle. I mean, phone companies do that all the time, like mobile phone companies, and internet service providers. They always give the best discount to the new customer, like who's not yet a customer. And only a few of these companies would extend those savings to existing customers. So in the past, this used to get me.
Sorry to cut you off, but it's almost if you don't call and complain, they won't give you those.
Exactly.
When you do, it's like, okay, fine, we'll give it to you.
It used to get me very upset. Like, I was upset because I'm thinking, I've been paying you for 10 years. And the new guy who's coming to join you today is getting a better deal. How does that work?
Who's the loyal one here?
Exactly. How much money have you made out of me already? Am I at the end of my customer life cycle to you? Because if I am, tell me, I'll move. You know what I mean? So this is the idea. If you are to focus on your 20% or on your existing clients, you'll find more business there, even more referrals. If your existing customers are not doing anything, like for example, for me, nobody's gonna change their website every 2 years, right? But there's maintenance, there's optimization, there's fixing. Because guess what? You build a website for somebody, you give it to them, they play around, they break something. Sometimes they don't want to come back to you because they feel a little bit ashamed that they broke something and they try to fix it on their own. Sometimes they don't want to come back to you because they feel like, oh, he's going to charge me an hourly rate now. And, if I can just go to YouTube and learn to do it myself or whatever. But some of them say, you know what? I don't want to have anything to do with my website apart from writing content. So all these maintenance and updates and upgrades and hosting and whatever, I don't want to worry about that. So I'm going to pay you a monthly fee for get one of your maintenance packages, and it gives me peace of mind that I can focus on creating content rather than worrying about breaking something on my website. And that's brilliant. For them, it takes a lot of the time and the worry away. For me, it's recurring income. And that's what we mean, by 20% of your customers would generate 80% of your business. And it goes for everything.
Well, it goes for every business. I mean, in our business, I'm sure you mentioned the same thing. Majority of my business comes from referrals of my existing clients.
Of course.
Not only will they continue doing business with me, but they're constantly passing my information on to others, which is amazing because obviously they have confidence in what I provided for them.
You're lucky your service is very visual.
Which makes it a little bit easier because it's
look at this video, and everyone said, oh, how did you get that done?
And I've had one of my clients that people ask him hey, how who did your video, and then he refers them. But recently he passed on a client to me, and she called me and I spoke with her. I'm like, so have you seen any of my work that I've done? No, I haven't seen it, but you've come.
But they're swearing by you.
You such a good referral. I thought we could start working together. I said, before we start working together, let me send you some links to some of the videos that relate to your industry. If you like what you see, then we can discuss it. And I mean, I knew that it wasn't an issue because that style, she obviously liked it. But I wanted to kind of let her know that, yes, it's great that I came with referral, but have a look, because then if you see my work, you'll see my style, then you'll know what we can work with, and we'll be able to mash well together. And that's the key to a successful relationship in an environment like this, because if we can get to know each other better in terms of what is it that you're trying to express with your business, and I can get intimate with you and your business in that sense from a perspective.
I like that word. Let's say it again. If I can get intimate with your business.
Exactly.
Like, you kind of know the business inside out first, so that you're able to tell the right story.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing I love about doing corporate stuff and doing business stories. And somebody was asking me yesterday, he's like, which direction you want to go? Why do you want to do that? Don't you want to make a film one day? I said, of course I do. But I said, what I love about working with different customers and different clients that are business owners that have a service or a product to sell, I get to know them and what their thought pattern is for their business. At the same time, I get to learn their stories. And I said, these are amazing stories that everybody has for them to get from where they were 5 years ago and how they are now the owner of their own business.
And the best way to project this is a video.
Yeah.
Like there's no other medium. If you write about it, it's gonna be 10 pages, but that you can capture this in a 3-minute video.
Exactly. And I said by doing that, by doing these videos with them, I'm learning so much. I'm learning about finance. I had an automotive company that I was working with, and I had to go in and watch them, do wiring and film them and kind of ask them, why is this car like this? Why is the stereo like this? And that gave me a lot of information. It's like, oh, that's cool. And it also it's kind of, I become a bit of a walking marketing for them. So if I'm with another client and say I have this issue with my car or whatever the case may be, by the way, did you go there?
They solved this problem already.
I like this kind of food. I was like, oh, by the way, if you're in this side of town, you should check these guys out because they're good food. And the only reason I'm saying that is because I get to work so closely with them. I see the quality that they do, and I become a promoter for them. I'm naturally, I can't help but to talk about them, not because I'm trying to push them to say that I did this for you. It's more like, these guys do a pretty good job because I've seen how much hard work they've done. Exactly. I filmed it, I edited it for hours, I watched that scene over and over again.
That's the behind the scene part. That is very important because sometimes people look at the ready product at the end. Right? Like for you, for example, people will see the 3-minute video. They don't know that you had 6 hours of shooting that were kind of condensed to make the 3-minute video.
Absolutely. Yeah, or the 15 to 20 hours of editing.
Yeah, exactly.
To make sure
and
everything
20 hours of editing. Oh my God, right? The editing. Yeah.
So that's what. But to me, the passion is in that. When I create these videos and I watch them over and over again, and people have asked me, it's like, don't you get bored of watching this? If you're saying you work that many hours, and it's 1 minute, how many times have you watched this within that 40 hours? And I tell them I can't remember, but all I know is that I know how to make a good meal now because of this, because I went through step by step. I know the recipe, I know the process, or I know how they've done this thing. I did a gelato place not too long ago, and I didn't know how they were being made. I love ice cream, I love gelato.
Yeah, exactly. How is the ice cream made?
So I went to him, I said, can we make a video about how you do this? Do you mind sharing that? And he goes, sure. And we followed all the recipes, and the video came out really cool. And the next thing was like, how did you get into this? Oh, I went to a gelato university.
There's a gelato university?
There is a gelato university, right? And I said, I had no idea. But he did. And he was from Italy, and he had this beautiful Italian accent.
I'd love to go to a gelato university now.
Right? And that's what, and his gelato is amazing.
Yeah.
And because, and I said, this story needs to be
told.
told.
What's the difference between gelato and ice cream, right?
Right,
Because I think gelato is a little bit, I don't know, I don't want to say softer, but when
Smoother.
I eat something called gelato, I feel like it's a little bit stickier than regular ice cream.
Yeah.
It's got this kind of a texture.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think, and that's the things that we need to learn. So the next video that we did with him was a good 3-minute story about where he came from, why he got into what he got into, and how he does everything. And it allowed me to learn about gelato, which I didn't know. And it helped me become more knowledgeable because of my customer, where I had to do a story on them and tell their story. So I was trying to figure out what would be so enjoyable if I can tell somebody this story that I love, I enjoy it. Now I can share it. So I become invested in their story just as much as they are.
And you kind of, it's not just a client as per se, it becomes part of your passion.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you want to project their story to the world. You feel the urge. It's like everyone needs to know about this because it's so cool.
Yeah. And that's a key role. Even the music that I choose for each video, I try to make the music connect emotionally with somebody, because when I watch movies and they have strings and violins and stuff like that, and it's a sad scene, it's like I'm feeling it. I've cried in movies before. It's which is when you get to a point where you're really upset or really happy or really sad, then you know that what they were trying to express was perfect, because they've connected with you emotionally and you're engaged, you're invested in that.
For gelato, are you trying to make them sad so that they eat more gelato? I'm wary of your time, and I don't want to, have our listeners have a 2-hour episode. But my parting, I don't know how long we've been here, but my parting words are: think business, then figure out the technology. What technology will serve your business purpose? And your parting words, sir.
I guess my parting words is, if anyone's looking at content or considering videos for their business, essentially it's just a conversation with with somebody that you know is a creator, reach out to them, just ask some questions, figure out a budget. And I think if you go into the conversation knowing that, hey, I want to invest this much money into it,
Yeah.
they'll be able to work with you a lot better, instead of you saying, well, give me a number. And if they give you a number, it may not be what you were expecting. Either it'd be more, or you're not really happy with it. So it's sometimes better. I always tell clients, if you can come to me with a specific idea, because when we go shopping for anything, we always have a
An
budget,
idea of what you want.
an idea of what you want to spend. I want
Yeah.
to spend between 10 to 15,000 on a car.
Yeah.
When you go into a dealership, you kind of, any monthly payments or whatever the case may be, you have an idea. There's no way you would walk into any
Yeah.
transaction environment without knowing what you're actually going to
course.
expect.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'll be more, sometimes it'll
If
be
they
less.
try to sell you the $50,000 car, you get scared and leave.
Yeah.
But if you know your budget is 10 to 15,000 for a car, you may end up buying a car that's a little bit more expensive because they showed you more value.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna, you know what I mean? You're not
Exactly.
You might buy the $20,000 car, but not the $50,000 car. So
Exactly.
they need to understand your motivation, the goal of buying the car. What do you want in a car? What do you want it to do?
Absolutely. And the same
What's
thing.
important in the car for you as well.
Well, when it comes down to video and creating stories, I can't say that every single video is the same price.
No, because it's a custom video. It's
each story is different. Each story has different elements
Yeah.
for us to tell, and different ways of shooting and different ways of telling it.
so there's nothing cheap or expensive.
No, it's essentially the idea is
You want the right fit.
the right fit, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why when I think as a business owner, if you're connecting with anyone to create content or create anything for you from a marketing side, if you go in there with a budget saying, I want to spend this much on my budget, is this realistic? Is this going to give me something valuable, or
Yeah.
is this too much? Is this not enough for me to get it?
There's a key here as well, is the return on investment, ROI, right?
Absolutely.
It's not about, hey, I've got, I don't know, $4,000 to spend because that's my marketing budget and I want to do something new, right? You need to maximize the return on your $4,000.
Yeah.
Even if you have $500, $200, $300 to spend, $10 to spend. Can you do marketing for $10? Yeah, you can. You can put some ads for $10, right?
Yeah.
But what's the return on that investment? How much are you going to make for every dollar spent?
Yeah, and that's why I always tell my customers, if we get to a situation where we're discussing price in terms of like when we get to that situation where the price comes at some point, it's like, okay, well, you have this much budget you want to spend.
How much do you want to make? I always ask this question. How much do you want to make out of this? Like you're investing in something, whatever that is.
Right.
It could be a video. It could be buying ads. It could be a new website. It could be a piece of equipment, whatever. You're spending something to get something in return.
Yeah.
The best way to go about it is to maximize the return. What's going to give me the best return on my investment? And how am I going to measure that return?
Yeah.
Because it's the same thing. People sometimes get sidetracked again into tech.
Yeah.
Oh, SEO is about traffic. I'm going to draw 10,000 people to my website. Brilliant. Okay. Who are these 10,000 people? Maybe 9,000 out of the 10,000 have absolutely no interest in what you're doing.
Yeah.
Is that good traffic?
Yeah. And I think in terms of getting your return on investment, I think when you consider investing in marketing, it's not about essentially money return on your investment. It's essentially about awareness.
Exactly.
Majority of the time, there's an awareness factor that's involved in it. So when you put out a video and it's shot well and it's telling a story, the return that you can expect on that is how many people are going to engage with it. How are people absorbing that information? And even if it's, for example, if you're expecting 10,000 people and only 1,000 people watched it, that those 10,000 people enjoy it. If they did,
maybe the
that's a good thing.
1,000 people are better than the 10,000 because these are 1,000 people who have interest in what you're doing.
Exactly.
Because they're targeted.
Yeah.
It's not just about, hey, let's just get as much traffic as we can.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. And again, the production costs can vary. I mean, that same type of video can be done with a lot of money or with less money.
Yeah.
It can
and a higher impact.
Yeah. It all depends on what are you trying to tell? And when I talk about budget is, okay, well, if you give me samples of this is what I've seen, this is what I want to create from a competition or another video that you might have seen, great, that's awesome. We look at that and then we say, okay, based on what you want, it makes sense. We can align your product or service with this type of style. Now this can cost you, it is flexible. depending on how big of a production you wanted. But if you want to reduce down on it, then let us know what the budget is. And what I do is then I discuss with them, okay, realistically, what your budget, you can apply this much, or you can get this with it.
Yeah.
This way, you're still getting something, but now your expectations are balanced because you don't understand how much it's going to cost you. You either think it's going to cost too much, or you either think it's going to cost you $100. Because just a 1 minute or 30-second video, it shouldn't be that long. I'll give you a little bit of money. Or it could be like, this video looks great. I'm guessing it's going to cost a lot of money. So there's two perspectives of the mind that you want it really cheap, but you think it's going to be too expensive. Maybe that conversation will allow you to understand that maybe your expectations can be met with this type of a budget because it's going to give you the quality that
and you are able to do this consultation, right? Like this is not something that they have to pay for.
Absolutely. To me,
you can just have a conversation with somebody, understand what they want to do, and give them an honest advice, and then based on that, they're on their own. They want to use you, they want to do it themselves, whatever they like.
Absolutely, yeah. Because if you have that information, and even if you decide not to work with me, you'll at least have something to
that
go
you can work with.
Next time, whether you want to reduce it, and maybe in the future, whenever you're ready, and if my rate is too much for you, or something that didn't work, click in, that you were not ready at this point to make.
I rarely find that money is the issue in general, and mostly people are looking for the good fit. Can we work together? Do you make me feel at ease? Do you make me feel motivated to tell you more, and then we can capture this? Or do I feel like I'm going to get a good value? Then money comes next. And even if for some people, I'm not saying that money is not important, but for some people, they'll figure it out. They'll like maybe split it somehow or whatever. Like and it's not always you don't always need that. Like as we're saying, like you can spend $100 and get something in marketing. You can spend $500. You can spend $2,000. You can spend $50,000. Like it depends what you're trying to achieve.
And that would reflects your expectation and your return.
Exactly.
I mean, anybody can do a video and they'll do it really cheap. There are guys out there that
you can get your kids to do a video for you.
Yeah, and there are also guys out there that go and sell really cheap videos. But really, you are getting.
And there are video templates, and there are video softwares, and there are video that does animations, and there are.
Like people do it on their phones nowadays, and and again, anybody can do it. It's just a matter of where your budget lies, what your expectations are, and what are you trying to get.
And the best return on your investment.
And that return meaning, are you going to be proud of this video? Every time somebody watches it, do you want them to say, "Oh, that was not a great video"?
Just did it this way.
Just did it this way, or do you want them to say, "Hey, that was an awesome video. When is the next one coming out?" Or tell me more about your business.
Mo, how do people find you? Where do you want them to go to find you?
Awesome. Well, my website, kaifko.com.
Okay, I'm gonna, as usual, I'll put that link on our conversation and also below in the details.
Absolutely. Yeah. So kaifko.com. I have on YouTube, Kaifko Creative is my YouTube channel that you can search and find me there. On Instagram, I started using my personal one, which is H2MO.
Okay.
Which is my initial.
I'll share all these links. You
can reach me on Instagram, on my website, on LinkedIn, all these different avenues I can be reached at. What I always say to people is call me, have a conversation, let me know if there's something I can help you with. Even if you have a question that you just want to get answered, take a few minutes, we'll have a chat. And if I can leave you with some knowledge and information that you can use in your journey,
if you're better off than when you started, then the job is done.
Absolutely. And again, I don't encourage everybody to work with me just because we have that conversation. The idea is understand what you're going into, so you now know what to work with. And as a business owner, you're definitely smart enough to know at which point you want to make certain decisions, and when you're ready, you'll make them.
Me smart? Nah.
Yes, you are.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And thank you guys for watching and listening. Have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Hey everyone, a quick reminder before we go here. All the links will be down in the description. I also wanted to point your attention to my courses promo video, which was done by Kaifko Creative and Mr. Mo as a director. Everyone who watches this video has to laugh. I have had great feedback, so you can watch it too, and the link will be down below. See you in the next episode. Bye.